Stop scrolling for a second and listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you might completely change the way you deal with people, and it's not what anyone has ever told you before. You've been lied to, misled, and trained to believe that the toxic people in your life are unavoidable, that you have to just deal with it, that confrontation, arguments, or endless patience are the only answers. But that is the exact trap that keeps you trapped, frustrated, and exhausted. What if I told you that the secret to handling toxic people isn't about fighting them? It's not about proving a point or begging for respect or even trying to change them. What if I told you that there are smarter, more powerful ways to deal with toxicity? Ways so shocking, so unexpected, that once you start using them, those who used to drain you will lose all control over your life. Today, I'm going to reveal 7 strategies that are not just clever. They are lethal in the sense that they completely disarm toxic influence without you lifting a finger in anger. These are methods that protect your energy, give you power, and allow you to reclaim your peace in ways most people would never even imagine. You're going to see why staying calm, creating boundaries, and letting actions reveal truth is not weakness. It's the smartest, most unstoppable power move you can make. By the time this video ends, you will never look at toxic people the same way again. You'll stop reacting unconsciously. You'll stop letting them manipulate you. And you'll finally see how to take control of your life in a way so profound, so shocking, that it will feel like a complete rebirth. If you think you already know how to handle toxic people, trust me, you don't. But by the end of this video, you'll have strategies that will make you untouchable, unshakable, and unstoppable. Stay with me, because what comes next will change everything. You need to understand something crucial. Your energy is your most valuable currency. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every reaction you give, it all costs energy. And toxic people, whether they're friends, colleagues, or family, have a way of siphoning that energy from you without you even realizing it. Most people walk around oblivious, reacting instinctively, letting every jab, every manipulation, every subtle attack affect them deeply. That stops now. The first step in dealing with toxic people is protecting your energy and mastering your reactions. If you don't control this, nothing else matters, because you will constantly be drained, constantly caught in their chaos. Think about it. Toxic people thrive on drama, they feed on confusion, on emotional responses, on the chaos they create. They are like emotional vampires, and your reaction is the fuel they crave. Anger, frustration, guilt, even the smallest defensive comment, every response gives them power. The moment you react unconsciously, you've handed them control over your mind, your day, your life. And the sad truth is, most people never see it coming. They think they're defending themselves, but in reality, they are empowering the very person who wants to destabilize them. This is why the idea of becoming untouchable is not just a strategy. It's a mindset. Being untouchable doesn't mean you ignore life or avoid confrontation. It means you exist in a state where their attempts to provoke you simply bounce off. You learn to observe without absorbing. You smile without engaging. You nod without defending. You speak only when necessary, and you never ever allow their toxicity to dictate your emotional state. This is not weakness. This is mastery. It is the most intelligent form of power you can possess because it is entirely self-sustained. They cannot take what you do not give. The philosophical depth of this approach lies in understanding that control begins within. You cannot control what people say or do, but you can control your response. This is a timeless truth that philosophers, strategists, and psychologists alike have recognized. When you react emotionally, you are participating in their game, and they designed that game to keep you off balance. But when you respond consciously, deliberately, with calm authority, you shift the power entirely. You are no longer a participant in their chaos. You are the observer, the silent force that cannot be manipulated. Practically, this requires daily discipline. It starts with awareness. Notice the moments when your body tightens, when your chest races, when your mind starts arguing internally. That is the exact moment toxic influence is trying to take root. Pause, breathe, Do not react. Then decide your response intentionally. Sometimes that response is words carefully chosen. Sometimes it is silence. Sometimes it is walking away. But the key is that every action is deliberate, not impulsive. You are choosing how your energy is spent rather than letting someone else spend it for you. Another layer of this is understanding that detachment is not disinterest. You can care about people and still remain emotionally untouchable. You can wish them well and still protect your peace. Many people confuse empathy with vulnerability, but the truth is, empathy without boundaries is a liability with toxic people. Being untouchable means practicing compassion strategically. You see the situation clearly, you acknowledge it, but you do not allow it to penetrate your core. You are emotionally intelligent, not emotionally enslaved. There is also a subtle but profound psychological impact on the toxic person when they encounter someone untouchable. They expect chaos, they expect a reaction, they expect to manipulate. When those expectations are denied, their strategies fail. They are forced to confront a reality they cannot control. And this is liberating, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Because once you are untouchable, you create an environment where toxicity cannot flourish. Your calm becomes a shield, your disciple becomes a barrier, and your energy becomes untouchable. So remember this, your reactions are your power. Your energy is your fortress. Every moment you choose calm over chaos. Every moment you refuse to be provoked, you reclaim control over your life. You do not need to fight every battle, explain yourself to every person, or justify your peace. Mastering your reactions is the ultimate act of strength, and it sets the stage for every other strategy you will use against toxic influence. The moment you decide to protect your energy, to control your reactions, to become untouchable, you transform your life. You no longer chase peace, you command it. You no longer react, you respond. You are no longer a participant in toxicity. You are its antidote. And that is the power that will change everything. Once you have mastered the art of protecting your energy and controlling your reactions, the next step is equally critical. Understanding the power of boundaries and distance. Too many people misunderstand this principle. They think avoiding toxic people is cowardice, or that stepping back is a sign of weakness. Nothing could be further from the truth. Distance is not defeat. Distance is strategy. It is a conscious act of self-preservation, a declaration that your peace is not negotiable and that your life is yours to protect. Toxic people thrive on proximity. They thrive on access to your time, your attention, and your emotions. The closer they are, the more influence they have. That's why boundaries are essential. Boundaries are invisible lines drawn around your life, lines that say, "This is mine." You may observe, but you may not enter uninvited. And the beauty of boundaries is that they are flexible yet firm. They do not need to be dramatic, loud, or confrontational. A boundary can be as simple as limiting contact, reducing availability, or politely declining requests that drain you. Every time you enforce a boundary, you are asserting control over your space, your time, and your energy. But distance is more than just physical or temporal separation. It is psychological and emotional. When you step back from toxic individuals, you create space to think, reflect, and process without interference. You stop reacting to every insult, every manipulation, every subtle jab. You regain perspective, and perspective is power. Most people remain entangled in toxicity because they never allow themselves to step outside of it. They continue to argue, explain, and justify, often without realizing that the closer they cling, the stronger the toxic influence grows. Distance, in contrast, creates clarity. It allows you to observe patterns, understand intentions, and make decisions without the fog of emotional interference. Here's a deeper truth. Boundaries and distance also serve as a mirror for the toxic person. Many of these individuals are used to overstepping limits, manipulating responses, and controlling the environment. When you refuse to comply, when you step back, when you assert your personal space, it disrupts their narrati, de pi. They are forced to confront the fact that they do not have control over you. And that is a lesson they rarely forget. You do not need to argue, explain, or plead. Simply by claiming your space, by maintaining distance, you are teaching them a lesson in respect that words alone cannot convey. The psychology behind this is simple but profound. Humans are conditioned to respond to boundaries. When someone asserts theirs with calm confidence, it challenges manipulative patterns and forces accountability. Toxic people may try to push, test, or provoke, but if your boundaries are consistent, they learn that certain behaviors no longer yield results. Over time, the environment you create becomes inhospitable to toxicity. Your peace becomes the default state. Your life becomes governed by intentional choices rather than chaotic reactions. Building this kind of environment requires deliberate action. Start by identifying the relationships that consistently drain you. Observe the interactions that leave you anxious, frustrated, or depleted. Then take concrete steps. Limit contact, reduce exposure, or restructure the relationship in a way that preserves your well-being. Surround yourself with people who